Welcome to Maritime Pakistan, your gateway to the fascinating world of oceans and the opportunities they present to every one of us. Our goal is to explore the shared heritage of the seas and oceans to achieve global prosperity. Today's discussion explores the book, The Sea in History, The Ancient World. Our discussion will focus on the 14th chapter, The Sea Peoples. Way back at the end of the Bronze Age, entire civilizations just collapsed in a wave of fire and destruction. And the culprits? A mysterious group known only as the Sea Peoples. So today, we're going to play detective and dive into one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries to figure out who they really were. Okay, so let's dive right into this incredible historical puzzle. I want you to picture it. It's the end of the Bronze Age, maybe around the 12th century BC. You've got these powerful empires, like the Hittites, and all these thriving cities all over the place. Then, all of a sudden, a wave of just violent change sweeps across the entire eastern Mediterranean. Cities are burned to the ground, kingdoms fall, trade routes completely collapse, and right at the heart of all this chaos, a mysterious group we only know as the Sea Peoples. Now, this quote here, this isn't from some modern historian's book. This is carved directly onto the temple walls of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses III. He's the one who described this massive coalition that came from their country from the islands in the midst of the sea to attack his kingdom. He even gave us their names, but honestly, those names only make the mystery even deeper. So yeah, the Egyptian records give us this dramatic play-by-play of the invasion, but the biggest question they left behind was a really simple one. Who were they? I mean, where did they come from? And what on earth would drive them to launch such a massive, world-changing migration? For centuries, this has been one of archaeology's greatest cold cases. So let's start the investigation by looking at the suspects named in these ancient texts. Our best intelligence, by far, comes from the incredibly meticulous records of the Egyptian pharaohs, because they were the ones who had to face these invaders head-on. The Egyptians basically gave us this list of suspects. You see names like the Shardana, who we now link to Sardinia, and the Pulasti, who are pretty much universally identified as the ancestors of the biblical Philistines. What's really clear from this list is that we're not talking about a single group of people. No way. This was a powerful confederation, a coalition of different peoples all working together. Okay, so we've got the names, our list of suspects, but that doesn't really tell us who they were, or where they came from. For that, we need to follow the clues. And this, my friends, is where the real detective work begins, mixing ancient texts, archaeology, and even art. Our first clue, and it's a chilling one, doesn't even come from Egypt. It comes from a desperate letter found in the ruins of a city called Ugarit, right on the Syrian coast. The letter describes an imminent attack from a group called the Shikalayu, almost certainly the same as the Shikalayu on the Egyptian lists. But here's the most telling detail. They were described as people who live on their boats. Their entire identity was tied to the sea. But what did they look like? Well, Egyptian carvings give us our second huge clue. Their very distinctive military gear. I'm talking crested helmets, round shields, and advanced stuff like bronze body armor and long swords. This wasn't the equipment of some simple pirates. This was a sophisticated, well-armed military force. That military gear is a massive clue, but it's not the only one. Our third clue is a trail of pottery. Yep, pottery. In all the areas that were attacked or settled by the Sea Peoples, places like Cyprus, Syria, and Canaan, a very specific style of pottery suddenly pops up. Archaeologists call it Late Helladic 3C, and it's a style that was made by the Mycenaean Greeks. It's like they were leaving a calling card everywhere they went. So when you start to put all the pieces together, you've got the distinctive armor, you've got this Greek-style pottery, all the evidence starts pointing overwhelmingly toward one very famous Bronze Age civilization. I mean, just look at this comparison. On the left, we have the armor of a Mycenaean warrior, based on a real suit they actually found in Greece. On the right, a Sea Peoples raider drawn by the Egyptians themselves. Crested helmet? Check. Round shield? Check. Bronze cuirass and a longsword? Check and check. It's not just similar. The match is almost perfect. It's a dead ringer. The similarity is pretty much undeniable. These so-called Sea Peoples were deeply connected to the Mycenaean civilization of ancient Greece and Crete. These are the people we read about in Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, the Achaeans. They were the dominant maritime power of the Aegean, famous for their seafaring and warrior culture. It looks like the Sea Peoples weren't some unknown horde from a mysterious land at all. They were actually elements of this very well-known civilization who had been uprooted and were now on the move. So the mystery isn't just about who they were, but what happened to them after their great invasions were finally stopped by Egypt. They didn't just vanish into thin air. Their story actually transforms, from one of destruction to one of settlement. So after their final defeat by Ramses III, the Sea Peoples didn't just disappear. They totally changed their strategy. They went from being raiders to becoming settlers, and their story just kept going. As you can see from this timeline, their activity went on for centuries. But after that final massive showdown with Egypt, they had to change their game plan. Since they couldn't conquer the last great Bronze Age power, they started to put down roots in the very lands they had previously torn apart. And this is where it gets really cool. Many of these groups settled along the coasts and mixed in with the local people, and their names echo through history in places we all know. The Peleset, they settled on the coast of Canaan and became the Philistines, eventually giving their name to the whole region, Palestine. The Shardana are linked to Sardinia. The Turusha are connected to the Etruscans in Italy. And the Shikalayu, they give their name to Sicily. These once feared raiders literally became the founding peoples of new nations all across the Mediterranean. So you can see how this one moment of crisis and migration in the ancient world completely shaped the map and the peoples of the future. But it leaves us with one last, really profound question. While we might have figured out who the Sea Peoples were, we're still debating why they did it. Was it famine, climate change, some kind of internal collapse that drove an entire civilization to pack up, take to their ships, and basically set the world on fire? Well, that remains the most tantalizing part of the whole mystery. We hope that you liked today's video. Please share your comments and subscribe to explore other similar opportunities. Post your questions in the comments section for future videos.